Good morning. My name is Jeremy. I am an alcoholic, and this is today's daily reflection for March 8th. Turning it over. Every man and woman who has joined AA and intends to stick has without realizing it, made a beginning on step 3. Isn't it true that in all matters touching upon alcohol, each of them has decided to turn her will, his or her life over to the care of protection and guidance of Alcoholics Anonymous? Any willing newcomer feels sure is the only safe harbor for foundering vessel he has become. Now, if this is not turning one's will and life over to a newfound providence, then what is? Sometimes our wording, sometimes our literature can be a little wordy. So if you're like me, read it again, turning it over. Every man and woman who has joined AA and intends to stick has, without realizing it, made a beginning on step 3. Isn't it true that in all matters touching upon alcohol, each of them has decided to turn his or her will and life over to the care, protection, and guidance of Alcoholics Anonymous? Any willing newcomer feels sure AA is the only safe harbor for the foundering vessel he has become. Now, if this is not turning one's will and life over to a newfound providence, then what is? And so that's the excerpt from the 12 and 12 on page 33. And then the personal experience that's shared here in the book is submission to God was the first step to my recovery. Submission to God was the first step to my recovery. I'll be real. When I first came into the rooms 20 years ago, that was one of the big things that kept me from keeping my sobriety. Because I didn't understand God. I always thought ignorantly that God had to be the religious God. I didn't stick around long enough to learn that in AA, in recovery, God is a God or a higher power of my own understanding. So it can be the universe, it can be nature, it can be the sun. It doesn't have to be Jesus Christ. It can be Jesus Christ. And I'm not here to say what works and what doesn't work for you. For me, it took an understanding that it can be anything greater than me. I believe our fellowship seeks a spirituality open to a new kinship with God. As I exert myself to allow the path of the steps, I sense a freedom that gives me the ability to think for myself. My addiction confined me without any release and hindered my ability to be released from my self-confinement. But AA assures me of a way to go forward. Mutual sharing, concern and caring for others, and a natural gift to each other and mine is strengthened as my attitude toward God changes. I learn to submit to God's will in my life, and I have respect and keep both these attitudes by giving away what I receive. So when you first walk into the rooms, if you're going to AA or NA or any other 12 step, there's the word God on the board, on the 12 steps, you see it a lot. And when I first came into the rooms, like again, I have almost 3 years without drinking, but I started going to these meetings 20 years ago, right? But it never stuck. I never really gave my full. I never had a full open mind to understand that it is my now solution that gets me through the day without having to drink. There's other things that I do in my life today that have replaced that old solution to life. I wasn't one of those drinkers that just drank when things were bad. I drank when in any time. And then towards the end, I drank all the time, from the time I woke up to the time I passed out, days on end. And it wasn't always like that. But the gratitude today is that when things come up in my life that I can't control, I give it over to God, to my higher power, to the universe, to the source. understanding the difference between what I can control and what I can't. Typically, most things I can't control. If it's within me, like this circle right here, if it's me, I can control that. Anything else outside, I can't control that. So I have to give it over to the God of my understanding, and no matter what it is, the good stuff and the bad stuff, and just be grateful and be ready to learn, whether it's good or bad. Happy 24 hours.